Revenge and murder are horrible things. But sometimes people have to do it. I am going to tell you the most famous revenge story in the world. One night in the medieval period in Denmark, beside the Elsinore castle, Bernardo and Francisco, two watchmen, are keeping watch. They have been seeing a ghost of late, the ghost of the dead King Hamlet, and they are scared. Marcellus and his friend Horatio now arrive. Marcellus has also seen the ghost. But Horatio, who is a young man educated at the University of Wittenberg, does not believe in ghosts. But Horatio also sees the ghost and informs Prince Hamlet that his father is haunting the battlements of Elsinore Castle. Hamlet waits to meet the ghost. Meanwhile, a celebration is happening in the king's palace. The new king is the brother of King Hamlet, Claudius. And Claudius has married King Hamlet's widow, Gertrude. The celebrations in the castle are a stark contrast with the ghost and the bloody night that you see at the beginning of the play. The ghost explains to Hamlet that he is the spirit of the dead king and he cannot rest until his murder has been avenged. Everybody thought that the King Hamlet had been bitten by a deadly snake and that is how he died. But it so turns out that King Claudius had poured deadly poison into the sleeping King Hamlet's ear. That is how he died. Soon we meet Claudius and Gertrude, and Hamlet's disapproval of the royal couple is very clear. He blames the queen, his mother, for jumping into a relationship with Claudius so quickly after the death of his father. He is blaming his mother of incest. We are also introduced to Polonius, the chamberlain of the king, who is a busybody officer, who is suspecting everybody. He suspects Hamlet, he suspects his own son Laertes. His son Laertes goes to France to study, and Polonius wants to spy on Laertes. Polonius's daughter Ophelia is in love with Hamlet. Hamlet has been sending her letters and professing his love. Now Polonius wrongly believes that Hamlet is showing signs of unrest and madness because he is head over heels in love with Ophelia. Because Polonius wants to save Hamlet, he asks Ophelia to stay away from Hamlet, not to torture him with love. But Polonius is wrong. Hamlet is not mad because of love. It is his mad anger and disgust with womanhood that leads him to reject Ophelia. Now Claudius is worried about Hamlet. He sends for Hamlet's childhood friends, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. And Claudius asks them to talk to Hamlet and find out the reason for his melancholy. Rosencrantz and Guildenstern meet Hamlet and talk to him, but Hamlet is too clever for them. These simpletons are not able to understand anything, and they report back to the king that they are unable to help. Meanwhile, they also hear from Hamlet that he's going to get some players to enact an ancient play. Claudius is interested because he wants to indulge Hamlet. He will also be there to watch the play. Hamlet is directing the players, and he has inserted a scene into the play which reflects the bloody murder of his father. He hopes to study Claudius's reaction to that play, to that dialogue, and ascertain his guilt. Now Hamlet is in great confusion. He does not know what to do. He is aware of the consequences of revenge. He contemplates on suicide. To be or not to be, that is the question. Whether it's nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take arms against a sea of troubles and by opposing end them, to die, to sleep perchance to dream. Like that, he gives a famous soliloquy. Ophelia is now instructed by Polonius to meet Hamlet, and she comes to talk to him, but Hamlet is very cruel to her. He rejects her, and Ophelia's heart is broken. When this ancient play, Murder of Gonzago, is enacted, Hamlet has fun with Ophelia, making a lot of sexual insinuations with her. And she realizes that poor Lord Hamlet is mad. Watching this play where a brother kills brother, Claudius is visibly agitated. He fears for his safety and decides to send Hamlet to England with Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. Claudius's plan is to get Hamlet killed there. Meanwhile, Claudius is feeling guilty. He reveals his guilt and is trying to pray. Hamlet finds Claudius praying, but doesn't kill him. He could have easily killed the king at that point. He could have taken his revenge. But Hamlet does not want Claudius's soul to go to heaven. That is what will happen if he kills him while he is praying. He wants Claudius to be tormented in the fires of hell. Hamlet also meets his mother Gertrude in her bedchamber. At that time, Polonius is hiding behind the curtains to find out the reason for Hamlet's madness. Hamlet meets his mother, chastises her for Claudius's villainy in which she is complicit. And her guilt is also awakened. She is so tortured by Hamlet's words. And then Hamlet hears a sound behind the curtain. It's a spy. He hits through the curtain, thinking that it must be Claudius, the king. He thrusts his sword through the curtain. Alas, he kills Polonius. The ghost appears again and urges Hamlet to take revenge. Why is Hamlet killing other people? Why is he so deep in inaction? Hamlet himself reflects on his inaction. He feels guilty that he has not taken revenge. Now, Hamlet's mother, Gertrude, believes that her son is mad and informs Claudius, her husband, that Hamlet has killed Polonius. And he's refusing to give up Polonius's body. He has hid the body. Claudius informs her that he will soon be sent away. He has his plans. Meanwhile, Ophelia is grieving over her father's murder. She has been rejected by Hamlet. Hamlet has killed her father. She goes mad, sings songs, hands out imaginary flowers to everyone, and she drowns. Poor Ophelia, chaste Ophelia, drowns. Hearing this, Laertes comes home. He wants to avenge the death of his father. Claudius tells him that he is innocent. Claudius pretends to join in Laertes' grief. And with Laertes, he strikes a deal. There will be a friendly duel in which the sword of Laertes will be poisoned. There will also be a poisoned cup for Hamlet. Either with the sword or with the cup, Hamlet will be killed. That is the plan. Meanwhile, Hamlet was on his way to England. He realizes that Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are carrying a packet, a letter. He intercepts it and he changes the letter, puts his father's seal on it, and sends Rosencrantz and Guildenstern away to their death. With the help of some pirates, Hamlet returns home. There in England, he sees a grave being freshly dug in a graveyard. Hamlet contemplates on the skulls in the graveyard and thinks about the people, the owners of these skulls, the people, how they must have lived. Like great people, they must have been lawyers, they must have been courtiers. How glorious their lives must have been when they were alive. And then Ophelia's body is brought for burial. The king, the queen, Laertes, everybody is there. And Hamlet is shocked to know that his beloved Ophelia has died. And Hamlet and Laertes fight in the grave of Ophelia, each claiming that he loved Ophelia more. A fashionable courtier called Osric later informs Hamlet that the king has betted on Hamlet. There should be a friendly duel between Hamlet and Laertes. Horatio warns Hamlet, don't take part in it. But Hamlet is ready. He doesn't care for his own life anymore. He has reached a maturity. He is ready for revenge. He is ready to meet Laertes head on. He is ready to meet Claudius head on. In the friendly duel, in which Claudius pretends to support Hamlet, Hamlet and Laertes wound each other with the poisoned sword. Gertrude is cheering for her son because in the first two bouts, Hamlet wins. Gertrude is cheering and drinking from the poisoned cup. Very soon she falls. She dies. Laertes tells Hamlet what is happening, that Claudius had poisoned the sword, that Claudius is treacherous. Laertes dies. And before he dies of the fatal wound, Hamlet kills Claudius with his sword. And then he dies. The prince of neighboring Norway, Fortinbras, enters and is crowned the king of Denmark. Fortinbras' own father had been killed by King Hamlet before. So Fortinbras, like Prince Hamlet, is also avenged. Hamlet is given a befitting military funeral. Revenge is taken. Life is like that, very ephemeral. You have to do your duty and you have to leave the stage. This is the story of the world-famous play, Hamlet, Prince of Denmark, written by William Shakespeare.